It's like great for 7 years, and then you can kind of tell at year 7 it tails off. It's not as funny. They kind of lose their creative edge. And so the sitcom decides to bring in a new character to add life to it. Like The Office brought in James Spader, or Friends brought in like Paul Rudd. And it's either a resurrection of that sitcom or it marks the end of the sitcom. And have you ever noticed with that sitcom after about 6-7 years that the top actors now get producing credits, so they get a little more power and they get a little more money. And when you watch the credits at the end of the show, they're actors and the executive producer role. And that's what Green Bay feels like. Like, okay, let's bring in another guy. We've lost our creative edge here. Let's bring in another guy. And, you know, as Greg Jennings said earlier, you bring in another guy. Does Aaron have a relationship with him? Will he respect him, even if he's a hotshot guru? Greg Jennings talked about the danger in bringing in a new guy with Aaron Rodgers.
The luxury Mike McCarthy had was that he had a relationship with Brett Favre, dating back to his early coaching days. And so the Green Bay Packers understood, we can bring this guy in because he's going to have Brett's attention. There is going to be no coach that really has a relationship with Aaron Rodgers. So you're going to be coming in starting from scratch. Can you be thick-skinned enough, strong-willed and strong-minded enough to butt heads with that at times and tell him, no, this is how we're going to do it. This is what you need to know, and this is how I can help you grow. That's going to be the challenge for the Green Bay Packers.
It really is. There's going to be a lot of challenges here, and it does have a sitcom feel to it. Like, you know, all these great, doesn't matter if it's Seinfeld, Curb Your Enthusiasm, you get to about 7 years into that thing and you'll lose your creative edge. Modern Family, Friends, they're still funny and they're still relevant, but you bring in somebody to inject a new angle on it, easier to write to, and sometimes it's a resurrection, but most of the time it kind of marks the end of the sitcom. So we'll see what the new guy does. Pros in the nose start with Lowe's. 5% off on eligible purchases made every day with a Lowe's business credit account. Exclusions apply. See store for details. U.S. only. Joy Taylor with the news.
No. Turn on the news. This is the Herdline News.
So we talked a lot last week about potential destinations for Cliff Kingsbury. Despite some reported NFL interest, he appeared to be maybe joining the USC staff as an offensive coordinator.
Yes.
Well, our very own Peter Schrager dropped a little Schrager bomb on the situation yesterday.
I could tell you that last week when he was fired, one of the first texts that he received was from Sean McVay, another coach in LA. Sean McVay reached out to Kingsbury because they had a history together, friends, said, hey, we're about to go on this playoff run. I can use all the intel and all the juice that I can get. McVay offered some sort of role to Cliff Kingsbury and said, if you want to finish out the season with us, there could be a spot for you. I'm always looking to get better on offense, and I trust your offensive instincts. Just imagine that. He goes to LA, but not to USC.
By the way, Joy, what is this right there?
That's for Big J Journalism.
Big J Journalism. My sources told me yesterday that Cliff Kingsbury is about a 60-40 USC lean. He likes the opportunity to use and play with USC's talent, but he has an NFL, 2 teams interested. They're both teams west of Denver. One of them is the Rams. There's another team west of Denver that is interested in having him be an employee. So that's where I stand. But he is a 60-40 USC lean today.
Couldn't you take the NFL job, being that, you know, we're getting towards the end of the season and it's the playoff run, and then go to USC? It's not like he hasn't been a head coach in college before.
No, it's a very good point.
And then you have NFL experience on your resume if you want to take an NFL offensive coordinator, or if someone wants to take a risk head coaching opportunity next year. If
you're going to tie yourself to a struggling NFL team or a struggling college team, to your point, just take the NFL job. Because then you can come down. It's easier to go down than up.
It's not a long-term commitment either way. So what difference does it make? You might as well get the NFL experience and leave that door open to you. You've been a head coach in college.
No, I think if I was his agent, and I would probably say to him, who's the quarterback you're working with, and take the highest level job you can.
Yes.
And that would be NFL.
Because you don't have a long-term commitment in this situation. Might as well ride the hot hand. So Deshaun Watson joined some elite company during yesterday's win over the Browns. He became only the third quarterback in NFL history to have 40 passing touchdowns in the first 19 career games, along with Kurt Warner and Dan Marino. They are now 9-3 and the number 3 seed in the AFC, tied with the Patriots and game behind the Chiefs. Do you trust the Texans to make a good playoff run? No,
I don't. But Deshaun Watson is somebody that we literally outthought the room. It's amazing that he was not the number 1 pick. When I watch, some people are hard to categorize. I can look at certain guys and go, okay, that's a pocket guy, and then that's an athletic guy. Deshaun plays the position differently. He extends plays. He can run, but he'd rather throw from the pocket. I think we outthought the room on this guy. I think he did in college at Clemson exactly what he's done at Houston. He comes into a really formidable roster that's already really good, and he just goes, and he just adds another 20%. And when I watch him play, in big spots, he just generally he's a playmaker.
But that's
throwing,
what he was
running.
In college.
I know. And people.
So what was the big deal? What was everyone thinking?
People were like, I talked to scouts and they're like, I don't think he's a great thrower of the football. And I'm like, and I pushed back on this. I said, either it's Trubisky, but I get a guy who started for like 3 years in college.
Not only that, to me, playing huge in big games matters.
Yes.
Like all you have is college to go off of, right? Like this is the tryout for the NFL, your college resume. His college resume is great. He played great in big games against the biggest team. Oh, what more can you ask for?
Well, this happens a lot in scouting, is that it's a prime example, is Adam Thielen doesn't get drafted. Tony Romo doesn't get drafted. Sometimes we look at your school. A lot of times, that Thomas kid for the Saints did not run a great... Michael Thomas did not run a great 40. And so everybody's like, well, it's like, yeah, but he was great in big games. These combines, we start looking at all these like numbers and... Can you play or can you not?
Numbers are important, and that's fine, but do a healthy dose of both. And at the end of the day, if you're talented and you know how to win, and you've been in situations where you've had to win and you've made it happen, that matters to me. Finally, Pat Beverly was ejected from the game last night in Dallas after he forcefully bounced the ball towards a fan that was sitting on the baseline. We talked a little bit about hecklers a week ago. After the game, Beverly said the fan twice had yelled at him, "Bleep your mother." Beverly added, "I can accept the bleep you, Beverly, but out of lines is my mother. There's some things that are unacceptable. After I told the refs, I told security, Dallas security, told them both of them again, and he said it again. So if no one's going to control fans, what are we supposed to do as players?"
I back the players on this. There's no excuse. I don't believe in heckling. I think hecklers should be ejected. I think what's happened is players make a lot of money, and there's a lot of animosity among fans. By the way, you're not only heckling a player, but you're ruining my experience, and I paid $300 for a ticket.
Right.
So I don't believe in this. You have a right to say anything. I don't think you should be allowed to heckle. You can criticize a player, but there's a line between on a player for an hour, being a jerk, and I'll support players 99 out of 100 times in this case.
Yeah, I mean, I'm totally behind him as well. And like you said, he even said, I'm okay with you saying things to me about me, but you start involving someone's family. There comes a point where people feel like I'm paid for this entertainment. Like, you're my entertainment, you're mine to do with what I want because I paid for it.
Yeah,
and the reality is, they can take away your seat and give it to someone else who will happily pay for that seat. Who will not make everyone else's experience miserable and be disrespectful to. These are human beings.
Listen, I don't think you should be able to heckle a comic. If I pay $200 to watch Seinfeld, I don't want to hear some idiot from Schenectady heckling Seinfeld.
No, nobody came to see you.
And nobody came to see a heckling fan.
Yeah. So obviously he's going to deal with a fine. I don't know if he's going to be suspended or not, but he told them. So what else can you do?
All right, Joey with the news.
Well, that's the news.
And thanks for stopping by.
The Herd Lie
Well,
News.
a major story yesterday. Green Bay does not have a history of firing coaches mid-season. It's sort of been this sort of above it all, almost a collegiate feel where let's let him get out of the season.